Hey, Chris here from AV.technology. I'm here with Dean Heckler, the CEO of Heckler. And we're on the last day of the InfoComm show. Thought I'd catch up with Dean and not only have a look at what's new, but I guess sort of the reasons why.
Right.
So, you know, if we just look at this this new product, if you can call it a product, but it's how would you describe it, Dean? And I guess sort of what's the design philosophy behind it?
Well, it's a system. We call it Heckler Framework. It's a structural system. It looks like cabinetry, but it's not cabinetry. It doesn't have any of the project complexity of a cabinetry project, where you would have to gather all the stakeholders in at the very beginning, architecture, design, get everybody's buy-in and opinions on what it should look like. Rather, this system gives that outward look of cabinetry, but it starts with the AV teams. The AV teams decide how many bays should be in any given room based on what displays are appropriate for that room, what gear is going to be going in that room. The AV teams implement the structure. It's ultimately a steel structure. It's a totally modular system, a repeating pattern of the leg part, the beam part, and the column part. It really does boil down to those three essential parts, which will be in global distribution. You can imagine a big pile of these parts in distribution don't take up much space, so you'll be able to find these structures in distribution. Right there, that's all the parts of this particular system all stacked. And that is a pallet load of 84 bays worth of this structure, collated. So you can imagine that landing on a job site. The teams go to work installing the structures into the room. It tethers to the wall, but all the weight of the system is transferred to the ground. It's very balanced. The beam is directly under the center of mass of a large display. The integrator does their work, makes a functional system, and they can leave the project. Introduce your architects and your interior design folks to Heckler, and we'll work with them to create the panels. And the options on the panels are, you can start with all the Feltrite options, 42 different beautiful colors of Feltrite, or we can make premium panels with wood grain looks, corporate graphics. Sky's the limit. You could do book matched grain traveling across 5 panels. But that's totally separate and on a different time track. So I think this really puts the AV teams back in the pole position on these types of projects. You could just go into a building, look at every meeting, every room, and say that's a 1-bay room, a 7-bay room, a 3-bay room, tally up your bays, and order the correct amount of legs, beams, and columns to completely deploy that entire building. If you decommission a room, all these parts go back in storage. You lose nothing, nothing is wasted. You could decommission a 3-bay system and create 3 1-bay systems around the building. So totally flexible. It's an asset for the client, so if they move offices, of course, it moves with them. LED lighting is optional. We do plan to tie this in with whatever system, so when it's muted, the LED light goes red. Plenty of accessory options for gear mounting in the storage area.
It's an AV product with an architectural skin, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does it still surprise you, I guess, how when you think that you've designed a product that is going to please most of the people most of the time, that the requests that you get?
Yeah, every time we release a new product, you know, people tell us what problems we fixed, and then they quickly tell us what problems we have not yet fixed. Our earlier wall system, AV wall, will continue in production, but it's limited to a downward limit of 8 65-inch displays and an upward limit of dual 98s. Customers were quick to tell us across global deployments, 30 offices in 30 countries, different mountable wall systems and raised flooring and executive offices. They needed a greater range. They needed essentially infinite scale, but they also wanted to go start at a very small module and just be able to spec one solution for everything across across everything they need. And of course, at first that sounds pretty laughable, but we went back to a white sheet of paper and said, okay, we've always wanted to make a truly modular solution. Let's work on it. So we took a lot of what we learned on our cart lines, our latest mobile fleet stands, and created a even heavier duty, rigid structure. These columns come down and mount with the beam.
Yep.
And there's going to be sockets every 50 millimeters. The displays mount directly to these columns. You can use the columns to mount cameras as well. So you can create a multi-camera system with this.
So you're very differentiated from the bespoke AV furniture outfits, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So this is not, I'm just trying to think about, in Australia we're a long way from mass market.
Right.
And a long way from sort of bespoke kind of everything that opens and shuts with lifts and drawers.
Right.
And but this is, Heckler isn't that.
No, we're not that. I mean, we're listening to the realities on the ground of, the project started with speccing this display, but no, that was discontinued and they brought this other one out, or, things change really fast. So the idea of building a system completely dovetailed to a single display, to us, that just seems like it's wasteful. It will, within 2 years, be e-waste. And we don't like to see that. I want to see a structure and an investment last decades. And that's what this is. As long as displays have VESA mounts on the back of them, this structure will be the solution well into the future. When an office changes and reconfigures, these component parts will just be used room to room.
That's great. Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate your explanation and getting to know your business a bit better.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks, Chris.